Welcome to the Aging Well podcast, where we explore the secrets of thriving in every stage of life. In today's episode, we're diving into the critical topic of metabolic health, a cornerstone of aging well. Did you know that over 93% of Americans are not metabolically healthy? This pervasive issue accelerates the risk of developing chronic diseases and impacts our quality of life. To help us navigate this complex yet vital subject, we are joined by Jane Durst-Pulkys, PhD, holistic nutritionist, weight loss expert, and U.S. brand ambassador for Metabolic Balance. Jane is the author of the upcoming book, The Metabolic Balance Kitchen, Deliciously Satisfying Recipes to Reset Your Metabolism, Fight Inflammation, and Lose Weight. With her extensive expertise, Jane empowers individuals to achieve metabolic health using natural, whole food approaches that are both accessible and sustainable. Today, Jane will share insights from her book, explore the science of metabolic health, and reveal practical tips for improving your well-being and aging well. Well, Jane, welcome to the Aging Well podcast. Can you share your personal journey and what kind of led you to focus on metabolic health?
Oh, boy. Well, I grew up with 8 brothers and sisters,
Oh, wow.
and I was always fascinated by nutrition. My mom had a farmer bring fruits and vegetables to our house. So as a young child, I started to experiment with making my own yogurt, making my own bread, making my own shampoo, until one day I decided to make shampoo and store it in the real lemon bottle in the refrigerator. And then she decided that she was going to use that on the fish on a Tuesday night, and there was soap everywhere. So she said, you know what? You need to go and study nutrition. So I went off to university, got a degree in nutrition, subsequently got a holistic degree, and then finished my PhD last year. So it's been a long journey. I've been doing this since 1980. It's been amazing. But I was introduced to metabolic balance in the year 2013, where Dr. Wolf came to Canada, and I was just like mesmerized by the science of metabolic health and became a metabolic balance coach, and now am the U.S. ambassador for Metabolic Balance. I've sold over 1,200 of these plans. I have been witness to complete transformation in people's health, whether it's fatty liver disease, high cholesterol, uric acid problems, you name it, we were able to deal with it. And then I decided that, I think one of my clients were always asking for books, or recipes rather. So then I went on a journey and I put together a Metabolic Balance Kitchen cookbook, but also explained the science of the program, which gets released today. So it's a 3.5-year project, and we're so excited to have it out because I really do believe that metabolic syndrome is clearly, affecting so many people, but people don't understand what that actually means. So metabolic syndrome is a name given to clusters of disorders such as high blood pressure, high fasting glucose, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, which is going to create inflammation in the body. And inflammation, as we know, is responsible for 98% of people's problems. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell, and I'm looking forward to many more years of working with clients and with Metabolic Balance all across Canada and the United States. So I'm very excited for where it's going right now.
Well, congratulations on launching the book, and we will make sure that we have links to how the listeners and their viewers can actually access that book in our kind of description notes. But why is metabolic health so critical of an issue, and what are some of the most the biggest misconceptions around it that people have?
I'd say that, first of all, we have a global obesity problem. We have, and to help people understand this, you have 4 types of fat in your body. You've got brown fat, white fat, subcutaneous fat, and visceral fat. So the brown fat is the fat that people turn on when they jump in the lake, so they can burn calories and boost their immune system. The white fat provides extra energy. The subcutaneous fat is when we find it at our side of our waist. We don't like it, but it doesn't hurt us. But the most dangerous fat of all is the fat that lies behind your belly button. That's called visceral fat. And visceral fat accumulates there because we are having our insulin levels too high for too long. The problem with this visceral fat, though, is it puts out these inflammatory cytokines into the system creating inflammation throughout the body and creating biochemical problems. So this again leads to high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular problems, you name it. The problem is because we live in a world where burger's the king and dairy's the queen. And we have 5 new food groups: frozen, fast, fried, junk, and processed. And we really, truly are not supposed to be eating something that has to pass the chemistry lab on the way to our mouth. So with the inactivity, with the amount of chemicals in the environment and in the food, with people's lifestyles, it's creating problems with people where we're just gaining weight. Now, when you and I went to school, there were no people, there was only one child in my entire school of 800 kids that had a weight problem. But now you just can see that it's becoming rampant. And most people want to turn to medications. Most people don't really want to take the responsibility, but food truly is the answer, and that's what metabolic balance does. Because you see, what metabolic balance does is it takes a look at the client's 36 blood values, their personal health history, and gives them a unique, individualized, and customized program that is designed for their body to lower inflammation, to balance out the hormones, to help to lose weight safely and naturally, and only with food. So if you have a high inflammation marker, which is called your CRP, and this is the big test that we do for inflammation, then they will get a very low inflammatory program. And this is what we want people to be on. But again, it comes back to lifestyle. It comes back to, people just grabbing things on the run. And if it's beige, it's probably not food. And if you look at what most people are eating, cookies, croissants, bagels, donuts, French fries, pancakes, Eggo waffles, these are all beige foods, which are really playing havoc on your immune system, playing havoc on your insulin, and we need to get the insulin levels down as quickly as possible and eat whole foods, because the plan gives people exactly what they need to eat to achieve their health goals.
So what are some of the core principles of the Metabolic Balance Program, and how does this differ from other diet plans?
Well, first of all, it's individualized. So we take the 36 blood values, and food is chosen based off its biological value and the glycemic index or the glycemic load. It also has 8 core rules that you must follow. 1, you have to have 3 meals a day. Now, if you skip meals or if you do intermittent fasting, you're going to have problems with maintaining proper metabolism. So we have to have 3 meals a day. Number 2, we want to wait 5 to 7 hours between meals, and that allows for insulin levels to drop very low. When insulin levels are dropping low, then we can get into fat burning as opposed to fat accumulation. Now, when I graduated in 1980 from university, they did say to us, eat 6 meals a day. Science now tells us that if we eat more than 3 times a day, we're going to spike insulin and we're going to get into the weight gaining part of it. Another rule is we want to start the meal with 2 bites of protein. And when you eat 2 bites of protein first, you stop the release of insulin in your digestive system, and you release a different hormone called glucagon. So glucagon is an antagonist of insulin. Another rule is we have 1 protein at a time. Now, why do we do that? Because let's take, for example, the biological value of an egg is 100%, which means your body can utilize it very rapidly. But the biological value of milk is 91%. When you mix 2 proteins together, you're going to lead to overacidification. Your body will take the food with the lowest amount of amino acids, which is the milk, and that's going to create acid, a creation of acid. And it's very difficult to lose weight. Another rule is we have to only have 1 protein at a time, have to have an apple a day, drink lots of water, and no food after 9 o'clock. But I would say the biggest rule and the difference for all these is waiting the 5 to 7 hours between meals. By doing that, again, you're really trying to change the way insulin works in your body. And insulin is a fat storage hormone, and it's necessary to work adequately. But once we start eating all the time, or people taking a shake, and they make a shake in the morning, and they sip on it from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, well, their insulin levels have been spiked for 3 hours. We want to eat the meal within a 1-hour window and then complete the meal. So that's what makes it different, are the 8 rules and the close attention to food chosen for their body, and also to lower the inflammation and to balance out the hormones and to lose weight. Now, many people do this just to feel good. They don't necessarily have to lose weight with the program. They just want to feel better.
So what are some of the foods that one would expect to eat on this diet?
Well, I follow it. So breakfast might be full-fat yogurt with mango, or 2 eggs, avocados, strawberries, rye bread. We only use 100% rye bread or rye Vita crackers because the rye Vita crackers and the rye bread have a very high biological value, and the glycemic index is low, which means it's going to stay in your stomach for a long time. You might also have oatmeal for breakfast. Lunch might be chicken, vegetables, fruit, and bread. Or it might be a chickpea salad with avocados, mango bread. Or it might be a piece of meat. So it's everything, Jeff, that you can find at your grocery store. There's nothing on it that is difficult to find. And nothing drives me more crazy is looking in a recipe book and go, I don't even know what that is, so I'm not even going to make it. This is all natural foods. And the apples we choose, interestingly enough, are the non-sweet version. So it's not like a Fiji or a Honeycrisp. It would be like a Royal Gala, Red Delicious, a Granny Smith. These are all low in sugar and have a huge amount of phytonutrients and also lower uric acid and the cholesterol.
And how would this work with individuals of, you said it's individualized. How does it work with individuals of like a wide variety of ethnic backgrounds and diets and things like that?
Well, Metabolic Balance has coaches in 45 countries around the world. So the food list, I also am the license holder for it in Hong Kong. So we have a different food list in Hong Kong versus India versus Japan versus Brazil. Everybody has their own unique food list that has been scientifically examined to see what the nutrients are and the interaction with the different diseases. So Metabolic Balance Germany creates that list and then matches it up with the country.
So what about like in the United States where we tend to be a pretty broad ethnic mix, and one day I might want to eat Italian, the next day I want to eat Greek, next day I want to eat Polish?
Well, you got a problem there, don't you? Well, you can use your spices. And you can do whatever you want with the food within reason, because after the 2-week cleanse on the program where we omit the oil, you can cook it however you want with all your spices to make it like that. For instance, I can make easily a Greek salad on my plan by taking the vegetables from my list. I could also make some bruschetta on my plan because I could use basil and tomatoes and garlic and oil. I could also make, well, maybe there wouldn't be so many Polish different versions, but you can adapt it the way your cooking is by just using the foods that they've given you.
So it almost sounds like this is something that somebody goes on the metabolic health plan, they're tied to a coach for eternity.
No. Most coaches will provide the client with approximately 8 sessions, and they, at the end of that, have really learned how to eat the way that they should be eating. So they don't really need any coaching, but they have their plan forever. So they always know what foods are going to be good for them. Now, I have clients who come back, and I have one this afternoon. She did the plan in 2017. She's had some other health problems crop up, so we're going to do a new plan today. But you have your plan forever, and you always, if you gain the weight or you feel like you need a little bit of a push, you just jump back on the rules again, and you jump back on the food plan, and you'll notice significant changes. Because what's unique about Metabolic Balance is we do a 2-day cleanse where the client has either fruit, vegetables, potato, or rice on day 1 and day 2 after they clean out their bowel, and then they cook with no oil for those first 16 days. And here's a good part for lots of people, bad part for other people, there's no exercise for those first 16 days. We want the body to be in rest to lose weight. But the average weight loss in the first 16 days of being on metabolic balance is between 5 and 20 pounds, which is quite significant. And why? It's because the inflammation marker starts to drop, the body starts to shed the weight, and they're also drinking a lot of water. Post 16 days, it's 2 pounds a week. So if a client's looking to lose 60 pounds, we can say 5 months or 6 months. Depends on, how much exercise they do and incorporate after day 16. Someone might walk, Someone might do a hot yoga class, and you might find that their differences are that. But the weight loss is pretty significant across the board, but it's safe, and it's never where you look gaunt. As a matter of fact, Jeff, I take a photograph of the client when they begin the program and when they finish the program. Their faces look completely different. They radiate. The eyes sparkle because they've been drinking so much water. And that is a big problem in our society today, is that people don't drink water. They depend on soda pop or too much coffee, too much tea, and they're lacking the water.
So what about the person who really isn't interested in losing weight? They just want to kind of reset their metabolism.
So then when I enter the plan into the Metabolic Balance portal, I put no weight maintenance. Now I have a client doing this right now. She will lose weight for the little bit, but I increase their portion sizes so that they don't lose the weight.
So someone looking to reduce inflammation and improve energy levels, what's the first steps that you would recommend to that individual?
Well, they first of all want to find a coach to get them started. That coach then would set up lab work for the person. So the lab work would be ordered. Then that coach would pull the lab work from the site. They would enter the data into the computer, and then the client would get their own customized plan. But if they want to start ASAP, I would just say start using these rules, because these rules will significantly change people's lives. And this is one of the great things about this book. You could pick up this book, you can read it, you can start incorporating the rules, and you will definitely lose weight without even really changing much. I always believe it's not about what you're doing, it's what you're missing. What you're missing is the apple. What you're missing is the water. What you're missing is taking the time in between meals for digestion to become optimized. Because if you're always eating, your digestion is always in overdrive. It doesn't really get a chance to really eliminate the toxins at a cellular level versus when you're on metabolic balance, because we do have that opportunity to really metabolize the food between meals. So they can find a coach. There's coaches all over Canada, all over the United States. I think now that the book is out, people are going to be really looking for it, because, the problem is we have so many of these drugs out there. We know that we don't know the long-term effects of things like Ozempic. I personally believe it doesn't teach you anything. It's not really teaching you how to eat properly. What I love about Metabolic Balance is I can help you lose 50 pounds and then send you on a cruise and not worry that you're going to come back saying to me, I gained it all back again. Because what happens to people when they start following this program, they feel so good. But the minute they go get those French fries and gravy, they feel terrible. So, or their pain comes back, or their headaches come back, or their migraines come back, or, they're constipated again. So they start to experience what it really feels to feel good, and they will stop eating that. I also really believe, I'm going to be 66 next week, and I really believe that no matter how old you are, your energy should be quite high. And I can tell you that I have 10 out of 10 energy every day, all day, for my entire life. And I really believe that it's by eating whole, fresh foods that provides that energy for the body. Because I'm not going to get any energy from a food that comes in a bag, box, pickup window, vending machine, or, in some cases have a barcode. I need to eat whole live food that you can throw back into the ground that's going to, regrow. Things like cookies don't do that. Things like muffins don't do that. French fries don't do that. We are so far away from eating whole foods, and yet it's so readily available to all of us, and we all know that we should be eating fruits and vegetables. But what we don't do is really take the time to make a salad or to make something that's going to provide the body with the nutrition that we need at a cellular level.
Well, as we're recording this, we're kind of heading into the Christmas season, the holiday season. How does this work for somebody in this season of the year when they're going to be facing family parties, dinners, business events, and all those types of things?
Easy. So after 16 days on the plan, every person once a week can have what they call a treat meal. So they can eat and drink whatever they want, one meal a week. So they'll save their treat meal for Christmas Eve, let's say, or Christmas Day. Now, those other meals, they will be very careful. They will know what to eat, so they won't have to worry about it. I encourage people, though, going through the holiday season, if they want to go out and socialize and do all that, that the days that they're doing that, maybe perhaps increase your exercise. Like, so if you did an hour, maybe you do an hour and a half, just to keep it kind of under the radar. But
the portion sizes, because one thing on metabolic balance is we do have to weigh the food. So you become accustomed to looking at the quantity of food you're supposed to eat. If you've been on the plan for a while, you're going to look at your plate going, that's way too much food for me. So you will be your own kind of liquor control board. You'll know what to eat and you'll have some fun. And if you fall off the wagon, you just get back on the wagon the next day, fully committed and weighing all your food again until you achieve that optimum. I don't think it's a problem for people. I personally never worry about it because I make sure the days that we're out that I'm doing. I mean, I'm addicted to hot yoga, so I might do, yoga class and a walk on those days. But oddly enough, even during a buffet, when you've been eating this way, you gravitate towards the food. So I personally will look for the chicken or the fish or the avocados on those buffet tables and not be sort of turned on by, things with lots of sauces on it. It doesn't make me feel good. I mean, I do like to taste it, but I don't really feel good. So you become more used to knowing exactly what to choose in those situations, because you won't feel good if you eat the wrong stuff, for sure.
Okay, so in the book, you also emphasize, besides just whole foods, avoiding supplements and special equipment. Why is this approach so effective?
I'd say it's so effective because it's customized for the individual, because of the blood values. So, for instance, let's say somebody comes in with high uric acid. We know with high uric acid, this can lead to gout. There are foods that increase the uric acid in the body. So metabolic balance, if the uric acid levels are high, they immediately take food out that will promote uric acid in the body and help to get rid of it. Same thing with the CRP, which stands for C-reactive protein, which is the level of inflammation in the body. There are foods that are inflammatory. So, for instance, I had a client last week. He ate 30 eggs a week. He was so full of pain and inflammation. When I gave him his plan, I gave him 2 eggs a week. Within 2 days of being on the program, he felt like a completely different person. So he has a plan that's designed for his body to lower that CRP. Now, CRP should be around 0.1 to 5. In his case, it was 25. So that's extremely high. So we want to get those numbers down quickly. So that's what's unique about it, because it's customized for the person based on their health history and their blood chemistry. Now, many clients come to me, I do their blood work, and they say to me, I'm totally fine. Then we find they have a thyroid problem, or then we find out they have a cholesterol problem, or then we find out that they have, what else? Maybe low white blood cell count, or they have low potassium, or they have something on there. So all food is matched up to bring those numbers on your blood values back to normal again. And again, people have gone off their blood pressure medications with their doctor. They've gone off their type 2 diabetic medications. I've had 3 clients with full-on fatty liver disease. So we can see that through the liver enzymes, and they're so impressed with that I've actually had a gastroenterologist call me and say, what the heck did you just do? And it's like, we just made sure that the food that he got lowered the inflammation. And again, with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, insulin levels are too high. So we got a program that has food with a very low glycemic index and a low glycemic load. So you're not hungry. There is fat in this diet. It's not like you're eating low fat, high protein. It's not like that at all. It's just normal food. It's like chicken, vegetables, fruit, bread. And surprisingly, most people have 3 fruits a day, because fruit also contains a lot of fiber, a lot of healing properties, and a lot of antioxidants. And we need antioxidants to prevent free radical scavenging. They are providing free radical scavenging in the body, because we live in a world that's got, so much electromagnetic radiation, and our bodies are subjected to so many things. So we want to have those fruits that provide the free radical scavengers.
So what about for the athlete or the person that's training for performance or muscle hypertrophy and those types of things? How does it work in the diet for them?
Personally worked out with the client and the coach, because they obviously are going to need much more calories, but not necessarily. One thing we do with that is we don't just increase the protein, we increase everything equally amount. So let's say the client has 160 grams of chicken at dinner and 145 of vegetables. We increase both of them by the same amount. It might be 45 grams, because an athlete has way higher nutritional demands on the body and energy. So we have to increase that and work with them. And if they need the snacking, we'll provide the snacking with them too. But providing them with a protein type of snack followed with some sort of vegetable or a fruit. So A snack for us would be a piece of cheese and an apple, because we still want to have the protein first, because we want insulin levels to be stabilized. So you don't want to go and have a bag of carrots. You want the protein. You could have the carrots with the hummus, but you have to eat the hummus first to keep the balance.
Well, how does this work like in the case of when you're intensively training and there are high carbohydrate needs following that training? So typical recommendation from an exercise standpoint would be to have your high carbohydrate and fast absorbing protein surrounding a workout period. How does the diet accommodate for that?
Metabolic balance doesn't particularly work with athletes per se, but there are some metabolic balance coaches who are athletes themselves, so they know exactly what to give the person in those amounts. Again, you do have to increase the quantity of food for each person, but that's going to depend on each individual. So I can't say a one size fits all. That coach would have to work it out with the client, because they may be 200 pounds or they might be 100 pounds. But it's very doable to increase the carbohydrates so that they have those glucose stores for sure, the glycogen stores.
So does this work better for somebody who is in a disease state as opposed for somebody who is in a more healthy state, particularly with metabolism?
I'd say that it definitely would work better in a healthy state. That's not to say that somebody in a disease state cannot benefit, because sometimes the disease states, they are on different types of medication or chemotherapy, which can affect appetite and digestion and elimination. So it's certainly extremely beneficial for both people. But again, that coach would really work one-on-one with that person to help them, and knowing what the nutritional requirements are of these different disease states.
But isn't the primary goal of the metabolic health diet to reverse the diseases that come along with obesity and metabolic syndrome and so on?
Yeah, but if we're talking about like high cholesterol and diabetes, those are easy things to eradicate in the body. If we're talking about cancer, that's a little bit different of a situation. But metabolic balance is primarily used to help a person to reduce the inflammation, to balance out those hormones, to help them to lose weight. But don't forget, it takes into consideration the biochemistry. So if I'm coming in with rheumatoid arthritis, or if I'm coming in with migraines, or I'm coming in with, what does my client had this morning? Hashimoto's disease. These are all disease states, but the foods that are selected for them are very different than the average person too.
Yeah, can you share a few examples of recipes from the Metabolic Balance Kitchen that listeners might find easy and transformative?
I would say if you started with 3.8% fat yogurt in the morning, about 195 grams is approximately a cup, and around 145 grams of mango with some ground flax seeds in there, and even a tablespoon of flaxseed oil, that would be amazing. Or you could mix some avocados, chickpeas, green onions, tomatoes if you don't have any inflammation, olive oil and balsamic vinegar. That's a favorite lunch of mine. Dinner might be a piece of fish with grilled vegetables, some strawberries, and the rye bread. Or even a lot of people like to take the 100% rye bread, cover it with avocado, cook a couple of fried eggs on top of that, and have an apple. So very satisfying food, very colorful food, because we want every meal that we're eating to be an array of colors. And you'll always find that with this program. There's nothing all beige. We don't have any pasta. We don't have any rice. Potatoes are eaten only with eggs, believe it or not. It's the combination between the egg and the potato and the vegetables gives the person the right protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Another meal choice that we have, a lot of people have this, is 3 tablespoons of almonds, 2 tablespoons of raw sunflower seeds. You soak them in water overnight, and then in the morning you wake up, you drain the water off, and then you put them in a little chopper with an apple, like a Royal Gala, add some cinnamon to that, and it's called Mandalay. It's a favorite, it's a German product, and it makes a lot of food. So one complaint I get is there's too much food on this plant. Most people are going to find themselves eating way more food than normal. And they do have to eat it all, but if they're full, they don't have to eat the bread, and they don't have to have the third fruit that day.
So how does the program support anti-aging and promote physical and mental vitality?
Because, you're getting the antioxidants, you're getting the minerals, you're getting the fiber, you're getting the proper elimination, you're getting the energy from the food, which increases your ability to exercise, because, part of anti-aging is also to incorporate exercise. Now, I, as a coach, will only get my clients to do what they like to do. I push exercise a lot, but I also think it's important that people exercise with what they want to do. I don't want them going to join the gym if they hate going to the gym. So we'll get them to find something that is compatible with them, Sometimes it's just walking. Sometimes it's swimming. I've had many clients join my hot yoga studio, and I'm a big proponent of that. I find that extremely anti-aging too with the metabolic balance, and because you're detoxing with the sweat, which is great. We want people to sweat.
So what are your hopes for how the book and the Metabolic Balance program will impact the way people think about health and aging?
I think that this book is so necessary in our world today because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry for weight loss, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Metabolic Balance is a simple program that is customized for each person so that they can achieve their optimal health, optimal energy, and never have to worry about what they're going to be eating again. And the food is available to us. We just don't often go and eat these types of things because we're in a hurry. But what a lot of clients will do is they'll prepare their food on Sundays. So they'll make their food and they feel totally satisfied, and the cravings for salt and sugar pretty much diminish once they start eating it. Why? Because we add 3 tablespoons of oil beyond day 16. When you have these good oils in your body, so olive oil, coconut oil, flaxseed oil, evening primrose oil, once you have all these oils in your system, your fat metabolism is working better and you start to lose your cravings for sugar and for salt. That's a very common thing that happens to people. And even pop is something that we quite frown upon because it's definitely not a food group and it's going to age you because it's very acid forming. And that's the other thing about Metabolic Balance is it's a very alkalizing program with a lot of fruits and vegetables that are alkaline. So this is something that we need to do to stay healthy, is to provide the body. And of course, to drink good, clean, alkaline water too. That's important.
Okay, so in addition to the metabolic health diet and the hot yoga, what else are you doing to age well personally?
I really focus on, I think it's important to have self-care in place. So I read, I spend time with my grandkids. I need to make sure that I have time for myself. I try to be with people that are only positive. My personal philosophy for anti-aging is you have to help me grow or you have to go. It's like I want to be around happy people, and so therefore I've had to do a little bit of a cleanup over the years. I think it's important about relationships, about being socially engaged, about exercise, about personal self-care, and also personal self-talk is critical too. So no negative self-talk, because your cells will hear that and they will respond the way you're talking to them. So really about empowering the body and believing in, not being so hard on yourself too, because, if I say, oh, it feels awful, then everybody else is going to, or, the common thing is, I'm so tired. You hear that all the time. Well, your cells hear that and they respond, and then you start to look tired and you start to feel bad. So really a lot of positive self-talk. I try to eliminate the 7 deadly words: can't, should, if, must, or, need. And in Canada, we have another one. We all like to apologize for it. Sorry to bother you. Sorry, I need to go to the washroom. We don't do that. And the other one is try. So I'm going to try to make it, I'm going to try to eat this healthy. No, try means you get a 50% chance of it happening or not happening. So let's just do it. Let's just start the plan. I had 3 clients yesterday. They're like, should I wait till after Christmas to do it? I said, no, let's just start now, because you're coming in here feeling, no energy, can't sleep, brain fog. You've got all these different health problems. Let's just start now, because there's no better time. And there's always going to be a birthday party, a Christmas party, Easter party, a baptism. There's always going to be that. We need to learn how to navigate those situations no matter where we are, because, we have to be kind to ourselves and to be kind to other people, because anti-aging is a big one. Also, I do believe in taking minerals and antioxidants and supplementation for myself personally. If a client wants them, I will encourage them to take it, but I do believe that this is really important for that too.
So are you still making your own shampoo?
No.
No? Okay.
And there's a funny story. I've always been a swimmer. And when I was in high school, someone told me that eggs were really, really good in your hair. So I went, swam a mile in the pool, got out in the, got into the shower, took an egg, cracked it on my head. But the water was so hot, it started to cook the egg. Never, ever made no shampoo after that day. It's like, now I have cooked egg in my hair. It's like, okay, I'm done with that. So
I heard egg on the face is good too.
Yeah, I think we've all had it.
So if one of our listeners or viewers want to learn more about the program or learn more about you, how can they connect with you? Where can they find the book? Is there a website, social media?
JaneHealthCoach.com, and they can order the book right there. And if they order the book today or even in the near future, they also get 5 free gifts. One of those gifts is a book that I wrote several years ago called The Book on Confidence. They get a whole thing on the 8 rules of metabolic balance. They'll also get everything you need to know about metabolic balance, and there's a few extra gifts that they can get. And as of today, the books will be delivered. I've had clients today who already got their book today, which was amazing because today was the release date. So they're very excited, but they just need to go to janehealthcoach.com to get the book. And they can email me questions at janehealthcoach.com. Anything I want to add? I say, as they say in yoga, you're never too old, never too bad, never too unfit to start something new. So, if you really, truly want to make a change, then just start, because making small changes can impact your health on so many different levels. And it is your birthright to feel good and to look good right until our last days. I really, truly believe that. And I encourage you to, add some of these things into your own life and see how it works for you.
Thank you for listening. I hope you benefited from today's podcast. And until next time, keep aging well.